So now I'm just going to do a quick video on the new user interface for SmartValve App 2.2. So hopefully you've all had a chance to download the new version of the app, put in your CSVE number and logged in successfully. If you're having any difficulties with logging in, then please make contact with a member of the project team who will be able to help you. So this is the new design layer that you're going to see now for SmartValve version 2.2. So we've really looked at trying to smarten the whole user interface up and make it easier, more interactive for the DSTs out on the road. So hopefully you'll see, a difference in the way that things have been designed and put out on the page. So I'm just going to go through a few of those differences now. So once you log in, you still get your cards, but you'll see the cards have been redesigned now. So I have one job card on here. You can see down the bottom of the screen, I've got one of one. So obviously if I had more there, I'd have one of two, and then it would scroll across. And you scroll through your job cards again by putting your thumb on the job card and swiping to the left, and that will scroll through. In the top left-hand corner, you still have your same navigable bar. So that's exactly the same as it was before. Opens up the navigation, and you're familiar with what's in that navigation side. Again, you can tap that to open it, tap it again to close it, or you can swipe left and then swipe right in the main section of the screen to open up that menu. What you'll see now though is that there are now the search bar in the top, and there are three dots on the right hand side. Clicking those three dots opens up a wider menu because there's more things in here. So the cross will close that menu down again. So if I click on the cross, it closes it down. Click on the three dots, it opens it up. The three dots indicate there are three things in here. So you'll be familiar with the scan, which is the far left. And you'll be familiar with the refresh, which is the one on the right next to the cross there. The one in the middle is a new function. Now this function is disabled for Severn Trent Water at this current time, but the new function is a comms function, which allows DSTs and network control to communicate through instant messaging against every valve operation. So we've tested this, we've built it and tested it, and we've rolled it out with our commercial implementation at Anglian Water, who are doing some wider field testing for us. We hope that we'll be able to roll it out for Severn Trent Water as well during the trial, and get you guys to help us test it as well in the real world and look for some feedback. But for the moment it's disabled, and we're talking to your project team about when we might enable that. There's no guarantee that it will be enabled for the trial, but we hope we will do if things keep carrying on in terms of the data that everyone's collecting out in the field. So I just wanted to explain it. You'll see that there, and you'll see the word comms referred to in some of the navigable areas, but it is disabled at the current time for Severn Trent Water. So the search works exactly the same as before. We type in a search term, so I'm just going to type in a half search term here. Click search to pull the results back. And you can see the results come back. Slightly different format now with the blue cards, and we've improved the way that it looks in terms of the opening or the closing of the valve status, so whether it's open or closed, or it's unknown at that time. So you can see the difference there between the green and the red, indicating that it's open or closed. Again, clicking on one of those takes you directly straight into that valve, so nothing has changed on that front. So when I go back to the home screen, you can see my job card is on there now. So we've split it down now on the job card, so you can see it's a bit more information. So you can see the valves open, you can see the distance away from your current location, you can see the asset number and the type of valve, but also we've broken it down. So if you have a single operation on there just for you as a DST, or you're part of a group operation, you can see the single TAS and the group CAS are now marked up on the screen as well. And hopefully there'll be some grouped operations coming through during the trial, so you'll see maybe one of those pop into your work schedule as well. So clicking on the card, that now opens up the valve detail. Whereas before when we did this, if you can remember in the old version of the app, it had all the valve detail there on the screen. We've changed that slightly now, and we've made it more focused down onto the map. So we can see the map now, and we can see the valve, and we can see the DMA that it sits with on. So this map is not activated. This is just the screenshot, and it puts the valve in the middle of it. So if I click on that map just with my thumb, so anywhere, or your finger, it then opens up the DMA. So we can see our valve there, indicating in light green, and we can scroll and have a look around about everything in the DMA. So we've really focused down on this design to make sure that if you've arrived at a valve, the map's there immediately for you, and you can have a look at that valve, you can have a look at its location and other valves on the network and make sure we're in the right place. We think that's, a highly prized piece of functionality, so that's why we've put it up at the beginning of that screen. But that's not the only thing that's there. Obviously, it's focused on that. At the bottom, you can see I have this blue bar and I have the person task on there as well. So I just clicked on the screen to open up the map. If I swipe up, now that will open up the rest of the detail for the valve. So I'm just going to do that again. So I'm just going to swipe down to the bottom. As you can see, everything moves. So here at the top, we've got the navigable area, the valve's open, we've got the back button, we've got the distance, we've got the type of valve, we've got the asset number. We also have a triangle at the top there, which is giving us some information, which we'll come on to in a second. But if I just swipe up from the screen, that then shows me the other details of this particular valve. So I have a task on this, which is a turn to close. And again, clicking that will just take you into actually doing that operation. So click on the arrow. Obviously I'm getting a warning, so I'm not near this valve, so I'm going to say yes. That will take you into doing the operation as it did before. So I'm just going to cancel that back so I can get back to the home page. Adding a new operation, exactly the same. Click on the add new operation, that's exactly the same. If you had some grouped operations, they'd be visible in this green part underneath with the two people icon on there. And then underneath that, then we've split it down a bit. So we've got the images and the history have been split out. So if there's any history, that will appear in there and that'll be scrollable. If there are any images, they will appear in there as well. So we just tried to condense it down a bit by having some more navigable areas on the screen. Going up to the top, the triangle is indicating that there's some issues with this particular valve. So I can click on this, and that navigable area opens up the rest of the things that we can do on this valve. Whereas before we had it, you could click on it to, you had the pencil and the paper to edit. Well, all of these details are now highlighted by clicking that icon at the top, which is the triangle, the yellow triangle with the exclamation mark in. Then that opens up either we can view the valve details, we can edit the valve details, we can view the issues, we can delete and we can close. So we've condensed all that navigation into one part. So obviously closing it down, just closes it, open it up again, delete the valve. We've spoken about that in the past, we're not going to really touch that. View the valve issues, we'll open up the issues that we had before. So this tells you what's missing on that particular valve. So that's always good to look at, make sure we add that information in again. And then if we want to edit the valve, then we open the edit form. And the edit form was also changed somewhat in terms of the design. So whereas before we had long scrolling bars here, so here we've now condensed this down and we've got some navigation across the top. So you can navigate across, so this is the information we have for the details. Then you can click on data, and then this is scrollable as well. So as you can see, all the information around the data is in there relating to the valve, which again, all editable. So you click in it and edit like you did before, no problem. The location again, click on that. That will open up the DMA, allows you to set and change the location as we did before within SmartValve. The DMA, any description and access issues in there, and then images. So if I want to add a new photo, exactly the same process. So what we've done is we've just made this a little bit easier by adding this navigation at the top that you can click and scroll across, so it puts you into the right areas. And again, the tick to save that then is there at the top. So if you tick that to save it, it will save it as it comes through. And if I go back into that, you can see now in the history, I've got the updated valve in there. So again, some modifications to the design. None of the functionality that you will see on the screen has changed hugely in terms of that area. It's just how you get to it, how it sits, and hopefully it looks better, it's quicker, and it means more in terms of there's more data on the screen for you to be able to look at and be able to add to, as quickly as possible. So we'll just quickly go back from here, and I'm going to open up the menu on the left-hand side and then go into Ops Log. So when we go into Ops Log, we can see obviously our incomplete and are recently completed operations, which are no different to as we had before. But one of the things you can now do is if you click on this, so you can either go to the valve, or you'll see here it says open comms. So again, when you click that as a Severn Trent user, it will just tell you that that's disabled. If I click open comms, that then takes me to the new comms function. So here I can add a communication with network control around this operation. So simply by clicking the box down here, I can now type a message and send that message, and that message will go to network control. They'll see it on their web application, they can reply to that, and you can have a threaded conversation around each operation. So as I said, that won't be there. It will be there, but it won't be available. So it'll just say, I'm sorry, this is not enabled for your version, but hopefully, like I said, we will enable that during the series of the trial. Okay, so hopefully that's a quick run over what we see in terms of the new design. We hope it's fairly intuitive, but if there are any questions, then please go back to Richard or Hayley, and they'll come to us directly. If you need some more explanation or some more additional videos, we're more than happy to provide those as well. But hopefully, as you see, it's fairly straightforward. Just the key one is to make sure that when you want to get to that valve detail, so edit the valve, we're clicking on the triangle at the top, edit valve details as before, using the navigation at the top now. Remember to save it using the tick, and then to see the operations, thumb on the screen, scroll up, that opens up the operations, scroll down, we'll remove them back to the bottom, and then clicking the map will open up the DMA structure, which you can then go in, and obviously you can have a look at each of these valves again by clicking them, viewing them, setting up an operation as before. So hopefully you find that useful. It'd be good to hear any feedback that you have, and good luck with the new design.